In this video, we're going to be learning how a brand that has pulled in over $100 million in revenue is acquiring cold traffic and how you can do the same thing for your own brand. Specifically, we're going to be looking at the main landing page they're using and the offer structure they're using to convert a lot of this cold traffic into customers. So before we dive in, just a quick refresh on the dashboard here to show you guys that I'm qualified to speak on the topic of growing e-commerce brands and you can trust the information I'm going to share with you today. This is one of our clients, March this year, just 867K in sales. What we do at my company Haze is we help e-commerce brands scale to 8 figures and beyond. The way that we do that is through customer acquisition, customer retention services, entirely done for you across media buying, ad creative, CRO, email marketing, and also providing guidance more on a strategic level for our clients, helping them overcome issues such as tariffs, helping them navigate issues with inventory and supply chain and more. So let's dive straight into the video. The brand that we're going to be covering today is a brand called Lomi. And this brand, as I mentioned, has pulled in over $100 million in revenue in 2 years. They've likely, already surpassed this amount, and further, they're doing 9 figures a year. But this brand, they sell this compostable food technology device. So you put your food in it and it automatically turns it into compost that you can then just put in your back garden. It's a pretty interesting product, very innovative and very, very exciting for us to actually break this down. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be sharing this main landing page that they use and drive traffic to. And we're going to be breaking down this page, going through it and understanding exactly what they're doing so you can do the same thing for your own brand, and also where they're driving this traffic to after the landing page and the specific offer structure they're using here as well. Okay, let's get straight into the video. This landing page right here is a listicle, and we've gone through listicles on my channel before, but listicles, it's a great landing page to use if you just want to make it very, very clear about product education. It's very, very useful if you're talking to, let's just say, we look at the stages of market awareness. So the 5 stages of market awareness, any market has people at different stages, and we have those that are most aware, they already know about a product, they're ready to buy, and those that are unaware, who have no idea about, even like a problem. And then we have, the 3 in between, which is a problem aware, solution aware, product aware. Now, the markets that we eventually want to get to and convert a lot of customers from are the solution aware and the problem aware audiences. And listicles can be a great way to take people who are in these audience segments, these market segments, and educate them, right? So what do we need to do? We need to educate them through ad creatives, but then after they see an ad creative and click, we need to educate them on landing pages. And that's where the listicle can be very, very useful in doing that. It's also very, very simple to set up, very quick to deploy and bring to market, right? Compared to other landing pages where quiz funnel might take a bit longer to build, etc. So the key with the listicle, just like pretty much any landing page, is the hook, the headline, and the subheadline. So this one is 5 reasons why American households are switching from garbage disposals to Lomi. Notice how we're speaking specifically to those who are using garbage disposals. Otherwise, it's going to go over people's heads, right, who are not using that. So we're talking to those that are already solution aware, right? They're already aware that, there's a solution to dispose their garbage maybe in a more efficient manner, but they're not yet product aware, meaning they're not yet aware of our product. And that's what we need to educate them on. So we need to bridge that gap and get them closer to making that purchasing decision. So the subheadline here says, take the hassle out of food waste with a kitchen robot that works as hard as you do. No leaks, no smells, no fruit flies, just effortless waste reduction, push of a button. Okay, so notice here how they're focusing a lot on time. If you remember Alex Hormozi, if you've seen his offer equation, at the bottom of the equation, one of those is reducing effort and sacrifice and also reducing the time delay. The more we can bring those down, the better it is. By the way, if you're a new viewer here, my name is Jordan Hayes. I actually run a marketing agency where we help e-commerce brands scale their revenue profitably. Now, if you're running an e-commerce brand, you're doing over 100K per month in revenue and you're facing challenges with scale, maybe your ads or your funnel is not working as well as it used to or should be, or even if it's just a lack of time and resource to put into scaling this part of the business, then that's exactly what we help with. So down below this video, there'll be a link to book a call with me. We'll have a conversation about your business, learn more about the challenges, your objectives, and see if there's a fit for us to work together. Worst case scenario, I can provide some insights as we're seeing with our other clients to help you in your current stage of your business. And as I mentioned, this is for brands who are doing at least 100K per month in revenue and they need help with scaling and obviously want to scale profitably. And in the way in which we help brands scale is we provide services across both customer acquisition and customer retention, done for you services which are completely hands-off. We take care of everything for you. And that includes media buying, CRO, landing pages, ad creative, email marketing, SMS marketing, overall growth strategy, lifetime value optimization, all that stuff, okay? So with that said, let's get back to the video, right? So effortless, reducing effort and sacrifice, push of a button, it's also implies that it's fast. And also we're taking the hassle out of food waste, right? So we're reducing that, that hassle that was once, in our lives, okay? That's why over 215,000 households, they're just social proof here, already love Lomi. Lomi takes care of the trash so you can focus on what really matters, right? So they're also tying this to a desired outcome, which is like humans don't actually want to find a better way to compost their trash. That's not really a core desire. Really want to find a way to get rid of the garbage. Instead they're thinking about how can I spend more time with my kids? How can I spend more time with my partner, my significant other, my family, whatever it is. So the more we can link this back to saving time and being able to spend that time on what really matters, the better. because we're linking, a product that is not really linked to that. We're still linking it back in a way. So that's just like another kind of consumer psychology principle that you want to just keep in mind when you're building your pages. So the cool thing about Listicle is that it always follows a simple format of text and image. You can also have, the image on the left and text on the right. But really what you want to focus on is you want to have it optimized for mobile, okay? So mobile usually have image above and text below, right? That's usually the way it goes. And you want to follow that same structure. So looking at this, it's very, very simple because we're comparing how, Lomi compares to traditional waste disposal. So garbage disposal could be finicky, requiring constant water flow, careful sorting of scraps, and the occasional battle with clogs or jams. And then we're just comparing how Lomi is better, compared to that, right? So it's a very, very simple comparison. So if you have a product where there's a very clear way for you to compare against a common solution that your customers are already using, then you could build a page, an angle completely around that. And that could be a marketing angle that can drive a lot of the scale for your account. So just think of maybe how you can apply that to your own brand. Another one is no plumbing, no hassle, just set it and start. Other things that by buying this product you no longer have to deal with. And also, again, tying in the low effort and sacrifices that's coming with this product. Safe for the whole family, again, addressing an objection, addressing a concern, because garbage disposal of sharp blades. Lomi is completely safe, right? No exposed blades, no risk of injury, all that stuff. Perfect fit for any kitchen, just in case you're wondering, about the size and, my kitchen's not big enough. Again, what you want to do is, I recommend you look at your FAQs, have some sort of heat map software such as Microsoft Clarity in place, where you can go to your FAQ page or go to the FAQ section on your PDP, look at the heat maps and see which FAQs are being interacted with the most on your website. And those are going to be the questions that the customers have more often, okay? You also want to maybe talk to your customer support team and understand what are customers asking on a consistent basis. Because those questions, you want to take them and you want to answer those questions as points on your listicle. You can also use them for advertising angles on your PDP and more. So just another tip there. Another comparison is keeping your kitchen smelling fresh, because garbage disposals can leave behind lingering smells, but Lomi obviously helps with that as well. So they have this little video here, which I thought was interesting. This is actually from the CEO, where he answers common questions. Right, so basically the same angle of the page, but in a video format. So if someone was scrolling through here and was like, okay, this is cool, let me learn more about it, I'd rather watch a video. So I really like this because it gives a different kind of format to consume the information. So this guy, Matt, the CEO, is basically just going through all the same points here and more, but they're also showing visuals and it's a little bit more engaging. So something else you might want to play with. Finally, the comparison chart, because it ties in very well with the angle of this page, garbage disposal versus Lomi, and a very summary basically of what we've all spoke about, and very easy to consume comparison chart here, right? And finally, the CTA, which usually comes after the 5 reasons. And in terms of the number of reasons to use, I would recommend starting with 5. We've always found 5 to work. You can do 6, 7, 4, doesn't really matter. I would say like minimum 4 and maximum 10. Somewhere in between that range can work very well. So what happens when we click this button and we actually go to the next page? Well, we're taken to the PDP. Now, you can do multiple things here. You can have an offer section directly on your landing page. And then once people add the offer to cart, you can open the cart and then go to checkout. You can send people directly to checkout. You could also send people to an offer page with that on. So multiple ways you can go about it. This brand is sending it to PDP. We've also seen this work very well, but you just want to make sure that the PDP has, is repeating some of the same information that you have on your landing page. Otherwise, it creates too much of a disconnect and customers may feel that the information is, it's not congruent, they're not in the right place, whatever it is, and then they bounce and they don't convert. So you just want to make sure that's the case. You could also think about, restructuring, basically building a dedicated product page specifically for your landing pages to match that congruency. So what I want to cover here on this page is the offer structure. So the way that Lomi is structuring this is they have 2 different packages, right? You can get Lomi plus the membership or just Lomi. And this is really interesting because when I talk about subscriptions on my channel, like subscribe and save, I always recommend trying to integrate subscribe and save into your business if you can, because it leads to acquiring a subscriber. The LTV of that subscriber is going to be so much higher than just acquiring a one-time customer. So try and figure out a way to do that. Even if you don't have a consumable product, think about other ways you can implement that. So here with Lomi, the actual tech device itself isn't a consumable product that's going to last for years. However, they do have filters that need to be replaced. So they're using the filter side as a way to get subscriptions, right? So you can think of clever ways to do this, but what they're doing is basically, the layout here is very clear, includes everything you need to get started with Lomi, plus with your membership, 1 refill of Lomi filters every 3 months. It's $9 a month billed quarterly. So they're taking the quarterly amount that you'd have to pay, which is $27, and they're breaking it down into a monthly payment, which seems lower for the customer. So, psychological pricing, make the amount lower, break it down into, a month, even per day or per unit. It's always a great way to reduce the friction in terms of how much the customer is actually going to be paying. So another thing here, if we zoom in as well to the price, is notice how we have the full price and then plus $9 a month in smaller writing, because it's funny as well, like if you put something smaller, it seems a smaller thing, right, to us, like compared to the bigger price tag. So this $9 a month, but price anchored to this, it seems like nothing. It's like, okay, whatever. It's billed quarterly, minimum 1 year required, which is also interesting that they're requiring a minimum of 1 year subscription for this, which I think is very interesting. And it also makes sense if they're billing quarterly, right? They could also say, minimum 3 months required, but this is obviously working for them. So the price anchor, something I mentioned there, is a very, very powerful technique which you can use, which basically the strike-through pricing in itself is a price anchor, because we're anchoring people to this, this is what it is, and this is what the new price is. I would add here how much the dollar amount they're actually saving, so the customer doesn't have to do this math. That would just be something to add here, just to increase the perceived value that we're getting here. And then, as I mentioned here, this $9 a month compared to this $449 seems like nothing. So it's almost a no-brainer. Then of course they have the, just the standalone Lomi. Notice how the price is cheaper to go with the subscribe and save option compared to just Lomi, right? Which is interesting. And I think something that they could actually do a better job of highlighting on this page to say like, hey, you save X amount. They say it here, but it's not super clear. They should also put it here, save whatever it is, compared to the just Lomi. So another thing here on this page, notice how they're showing the subscribe and save offer as the first one instead of the just Lomi alone. The reason why we want to do this is because that is our preferred option. We want to funnel customers in here and in a way pre-select it. This brand is not pre-selecting any. You can there's individual add to carts, but another structure of page could be you have the option that they have to actually select and then add cart button below, or just one button. So different ways you can go about it, different ways you can test, but just keep those points on board in terms of introducing a subscribe and save offer, lowering the price to like a monthly, daily, per unit cost to make it psychologically less and cheaper, create a price anchor compared to the full price, and then just structure it in a way that your subscribe and save offer is first and is the most attractive one, and there's clear savings compared to the non-subscriber saving offer. So before we wrap up the video, I just want to show you another example from one of my favorite brands, 8 Sleep. The reason I want to show you this is because it's also selling tech, but a subscribe and save element as well. So the way that they've laid this out is it's a little bit different in terms of the way that they structure the page and the way that you get to select, what product you want. Lomi could also do this because they have, multiple of the same product. They have like different versions. This is just another example where you can select pod 3, pod 4, or the pod 4 Ultra. So 3 options. And then you also select the size, which is specific to this brand because you're, selecting a size for the bed. But then it does have this autopilot where you have to select a membership and you can choose standard or enhanced, right? So I think that the smart thing that this brand is doing is that it's not like, do you want to bill monthly or yearly? It's like, no, you need a subscription. Choose whether you want standard or enhanced. So like, it's not even a question of getting out of the subscription. It's like, no, you have to have the subscription. And notice they're billing this annually. Okay, so it's a way to get a lot more cash up front rather than spreading that out over the course of 12 months. So something to consider there. And then additional accessories to bump AOV as well. The last thing I want to cover in this video is a simple framework that you can apply to your pages to make it clear as to how you can structure them out. And it's the 4 Ps. So we have pain, promise, product, and proof. So the way that you structure this is you start with the pain. You start with the pain that the customer's already facing. And this could even be from the ad creative itself, right? You could start with the pain there. When they come to the page itself, you want to remind them of the pain. And then you want to introduce your promise, your big claim, okay? So in the case of Lomi, what we saw here, scroll up here, we said, take the hassle out of food waste with the kitchen robot that works as hard as you do. No leaks, no smells, no fruit flies, just effortless waste reduction at the push of a button. That's kind of the big promise. That is what we're promising for the customer, okay? Now, the next thing is the product itself. So we introduced the product, and here we see that's why over 250,000 households already learned Lomi. So we're introducing Lomi as a product, and then we start, to talk more about the product and the education. And then finally, the proof, which is, already come in on the 215,000 households. But what you can do as an extra is you can add some customer reviews here. You can add some authority. You can add some press logo bars. You could just add more social proof to, increase that, the proof itself. So there's a very, very simple structure that you can follow just to make sure that you're taking customers through that journey. Because if you introduce the pain, a strong promise, you introduce a product, and then you have proof to back up your claims and your product, then you should be set and you should be able to convert that customer. All right, that is it for this video. Hopefully this was helpful in terms of understanding how you can apply the Listicle landing page to your own brand to start converting more cold traffic into buyers. And if you are looking for a partner to help you scale your e-commerce brand to 8 figures, then this is exactly what my company does. There'll be a link below this video where you can go to my website, you can book a call, we can have a chat about your brand. Worst case, you leave with some insights that we're seeing across our clients that you can apply to your own brand. But yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.